Alright, so it's been a while. I went to the PRI show and stuff, so yeah, got some new tooling and things like that, got some new tapered pilots. This is a head that's been previously done for me. I probably spoke about it a couple of times now. I don't know how much I've done on it, but yeah, this is a cylinder head before I even had the Surdy over there myself. This is one I had done for me. This is for my engine, but using this tool is not working very well with this. So I've measured the guides. They're all roughly the same size. That's not a problem. Like across the inlet and exhaust, they're the same clearance basically on both, but that's not that much of an issue. It's about 2 thou, I think, or just slightly under. Some of them though have like I don't know if I draw it, but they have a real taper at the bottom. So let's just give it a draw and I'll show you what I mean. So that's the guide there, and then the valve's going to run through the middle. The top of the guide though, as it comes out on the other side to this side of the head, it seems to expand now, and then obviously that is the top of the guide, and this one is the worst one. This one's got a 5 thou increase on the very top. So again, with this gauge, you can run it in there. I might try and show you actually. You can run it down this guide. The others aren't too bad. You know, maybe you got like 5/10 of like taper maybe at the top or at the bottom, mainly at the bottom side, so what would be the top of the head. Yeah, let me see if I can just show you. All right, so this is a little bit out of the screen, I guess, but if I just set that to 0, and this is a 10th gauge, so you can see right down at the bottom, I'll try and turn it, there's maybe 5/10 in it, and then right up to the top, and if I rock it, you can see it's all pretty good. I can't show you 90 degrees, but this guide is a really nice guide. There is very little movement in it. So if I show you this guide, and hopefully you can see it. You don't need to see it, but so you can see this guide here has got a little bit that way. Again, rock it. So we've got a foul there. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, right. So this is going to be very difficult to do, maybe. But if I hopefully that will kind of, don't know if it's going to work, but so that's 5 thou, if not more. So we're already a thou on the big side anyway. You know, nearly a thou on the big side, but that tapers right out, so you can literally see. I mean, and I can push this all the way down. Let me just put you back here. So, and again, just to prove it, like I can push that, he's all the way down. There's no issue there, and I can turn it through 90, whether it's gonna zoom or not, but like that is how you would expect to see it. There's literally less than 5/10 all the way up, but that one, she's a ripper. So then I've come across with this tool, and so this is a tapered pilot, high speed. Well, it's not actually not high speed steel, but it's the equivalent of high speed steel. So it's pretty rigid. Still a lot of flex in this stuff, but obviously you're not forcing it over. So the tapered pilot goes down, as with, you know, all the other tests that I've done, excuse me. Put this on there, check the run out. The caveat with it is that if you've got any of this taper at this top of this guide, then obviously this is going to tilt, and then it's going to put all your readings completely out. And the readings I have done, and because when I like to do it, I like to put it in, measure it, and you can see this little hole, measure it, so you put it in with a Allen key, measure it, and then I like to measure, write down the number, then I'll lift this out, take it off the machine, put it back down, or the tooling, put it back down, put it back in 90 degrees, measure it again, and then I'll go back. So I'll normally do 3 readings. So here I've got actually 4 readings, and then there's 2. So I've done it multiple times, and some of the runouts, well, 0.8, so that's 8/10 of a thou, 9/10, 9/10, 1.5, 3.8, 3.5 thou, 0.8, 2 thou. And you go, okay, well, that's quite a lot. No. 9/10, that was a 9/10. No, sorry, that was 9 thou. 9 thou on that exhaust, 5.5 on that exhaust, 7.2, 11.5, and 5.5, and that one over there is a 7 point something. And they're pretty consistent. So, you know, doing it 7.2, 7.2, 11.5, 11.8. So that the problem, the biggest problem one is this one here. And as I say, it could be, and I have checked with this tool, it's very difficult to do, but at the very top, it doesn't seem to be out of round. So at the top, this doesn't seem to have a load of taper in it one side, like, you know, like I've drawn down here. That doesn't seem to be the case. I've rotated it through, well, over 180 degrees, just rechecking. But yeah, so you 90/90, because the way that split ball, I'm not going to find out what edge it's on, but it's a split ball, so it will find it regardless. It doesn't tell you if the guide's straight, obviously, but it does tell you if it's getting bigger or smaller. So that was with one of these pilots, which is a tapered pilot, and I have got 2 of exactly the same pilot. I've checked the run out on them on the valve tool. There's no run out in this whatsoever. And I've got 2 of them, so I can compare them just in case there was, I mean, it's not bent, but if it was bent or there was a little something or there was some shit, and I've run a nylon through these, like a nylon brush, still nothing. So now I have put in, so where these guides are all a bit different sized, or maybe they're pissed internally like a snake, you know, like, so the actual, the core through the center of the guide is more sort of, you know, like that or something, I don't know, but it's all the same size, or maybe it's, I don't know, pissed slightly like that, I don't know, whatever, for whatever reason. So what I've put in a straight pilot, and I found one that it's jammed up on. So a straight pilot, if it's stiff in there, is going to give you the best representation of a valve being in there, especially as this one is literally jam stopped. But with the tapered pilot, I got 2 thou, and inlet 8. Yeah, so I got 2.3 and then 2. I probably did it. Oh, I definitely did it again, because I did it 4 times on each, but I just didn't write it down because it was the same. But I've just fitted the straight pilot in there, and it's giving me exactly the same reading. Now, all right, you could say, you know, oh, it's a few tenths, but you know, when you're talking about this stuff, what's a few tenths between friends? So I'm going to say that's pretty fucking accurate. That just is 2 thou. That is a straight pilot in the guide, stiff. I mean, I will show you, because why the fuck not? So tool off. This is a Surdy straight pilot, and it's not, you know, it spins, but it's, I mean, it's not, it's hard to push up and down. It's actually a really lovely fit. But I'm getting 2 thou, and interestingly, I was getting 2 thou on that one. It's a shame, because I don't think, oh no, it will. Oh man, that guide is fucking hanging. Yeah, so this will be a good test, because that guide, yeah, sorry, bear with me, I am holding with the phone. That is so tight in there, that guide is not straight. Like, that just is not straight, because that was a piece of piss at the top. Maybe it wasn't. Oh no, yeah, so it's really loose here. So that is in fact probably what the problem is. Like, you can't really see, but the head's moving. But there is, if I pull that out to the tip, which is obviously going to show a lot of, that's pretty sketchy up there. But if I push that in, so that is stiff AF, like much stiffer than the other side. So this will now be a true representation, which I haven't even done myself. Right, So, and again, this is pilot, is stiff in there. So this is representing a valve with no clearance. So although this has actually got clearance, this has got 2 thou clearance, where this guide is no longer, it's just not straight. Like it's not straight at all. So it might have the clearance in it on here, but it isn't straight. You can see that. I mean, that is, so 0, there's 6, 7, 8. So we're talking nearly 8 thou of run out on that seat. Let's just see what that is. I see. That must have so much play in that that guide at the top. Must be so tapered that it's putting this taper in at an angle, like the taper on the shaft on an angle, because this is now a thou, which is really interesting. So, oh, I mean, I'm just over or whatever. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's shot shit. So yeah, that's going to be like 1.5 thou, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah, so there we go. So I might be able to just give it a little tweak. I'm pulling that out. Too much. See what we got. The head's rocking all over the place. I should go the other way, really. Yeah, so that's 1 thou. No, it might be 2.5. I'm going to call that 2.5. So what's that? 4, 5, E5. There's no repeatability. 2 thou. You see that? You can kind of see that. You go the other way. Yep. 2 thou. I mean, that's 8/10. That is 8/10. Yeah, nice. It's 3.5 thou. 3.5 E8. Now we're just go back around there. Oh no, sorry, yeah, we were, weren't we? So we're 1, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're almost 8. And this is 1.5 thou. So hopefully that's what I said before. I think it is actually. So yeah, there you go. This actually does have 8 thou run out, and it was made worse to the 11.5 or whatever. It was made worse by the fact that the top of the guide is basically pissed offset, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so I actually worked them all out on the exhaust because I can't do the inlets. 1.2, can't do number 2, 1.5, 8, 2.5, 2, 8/10, and then 3.5. So yeah, we got one that's good. Yay! So on the LS head I wrote down 5, and straight pilot jammed in there, and sure enough, she had 5. So steel guides are the way to go if you want to measure this stuff with a straight pilot or a tapered pilot. Let's have a look. Yeah. So if I grab the other side of that valve, that's me spinning. Oh gosh, sorry about that. It's focusing on everything. Not the one. I mean, yeah, I can feel it binding and moving. It literally takes like a fair whack. I mean, it will close, but I can feel it shifting in the seat. This one's a lot better. And is that the way that? Oh yeah, so that is the one with loads. Oh gosh, I might not even need that. mean, you can still see through it, but you can see which side. I can feel it dragging. It's quite impressive. I'm gonna. I wonder if I just put a bit of. I'm gonna just put a bit of marker pen on that and just give that a light spin without pushing down on it. Right, let me just. I'm gonna quickly acetone that. Just gonna acetone that up. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm just gonna run my pen around that whole seat. I don't know whether to do it on the. I mean, I have gone way over that 45. Okay, so I'm going to do it from the back side. I'm going to put very little. Yeah, so where that low side is, let me just go again. This is actually a good example. I mean, so you can see that that made a full seat. Okay, is this visible? I mean, clearly, very. So again, this is the low side, that's why that mark's there. We've worn away all of this, basically from this point here to this point here, we've got a full seat all the way around. And that's why lapping, well, they're not lapping, it's grinding paste. I can feel, I mean, I'm on the seat, you can see the grinding marks. But you can see there. So this pulls vacuum, even retested. I haven't tested it on my machine, but I literally watched them do it because I could see light through some of the valves. Pulls vacuum. Obviously, it's going to grind a seat all the way around because any grinding paste is going to take up, and that's why when I show you the lapping compound, the 1200, you can't hear a chatter in the machine, but you can see it once you start to lap. Really quite cool. But we'll get around to that at some point. Yeah, so literally sitting on there, and that's why, and this is the side you can see the light through because these are all the low sides. So there you have it. I'm sure I could do more. There's no point, like I say, because of the clearance in the guide, there's no point even trying to blue this. Because it just doesn't care. Like it will just fill up any gaps that are there, and we're talking about minor gaps anyway because the amount of clearance in the guide. But I can feel that. Like as I pull down on that valve, I can feel it catch somewhere, and then as I pull it down more, I can feel it go and slide into the space. But let me just draw something quick. Okay, so my little theory here. You've got your 45s. These are the two 45s. This is the seat. This is the throat. This is your valve. This is your 45s on your valves. As this comes down, God, I wish you'd stop focusing on that, my finger. As this comes down, it's going to sit on that surface, and assuming they're both 45 exactly, they're going to meet. Now, with expansion, the valve's going to be hotter than the seat. Well, most likely, but 40% of the heat of the valve comes out of the into the guide, and obviously the rest has got to go somewhere, so I'd imagine a big chunk of the rest of the 60% goes through the seat. Now the seat's in an alley head, so that's absorbing heat really quickly, water travelling through it. So as this expands, as they're both the same temperature when we machine them, doesn't matter really too much if this expands. Now potentially you could say, well, this tip's going to expand slightly more than the body, so you could get some sort of bend. Okay, fair enough. There are some caveats to that, but let's just say that the valve is heating up as one uniform unit and that 45 isn't changing. So that's going to meet up with that. Now, if this grows, it's still going to be 45, but it might sit slightly higher in the seat. So we might go from, we might be sitting perfectly here, but we might move up slightly with expansion of this valve, because obviously it's a taper fit. So if it's larger, it's going to shift up slightly. Now, perfectly machined surfaces, which, you know, that's a caveat in its own right, because, you know, nothing's going to be perfectly flat. It's always going to be a percent, like, you know, look at profilometers, look them up and you'll see. But then that grind I can feel with my finger. So then you've got this process, and you've got a bunch of peaks and valleys that have got to line up. Now, when you're grinding that valve in, sure enough, those peaks and valleys, they're going to sit in each other, and they're going to take up a clearance, because you had bits of grit in here. So it wouldn't be perfect, but you'd still have, you know, when you were grinding that in there with your 400 or whatever, maybe you're lucky and got some 600, you're going to have this obviously zoomed in. Now, what happens when it expands? So then you could potentially have the point where actually all the points line up, and then you've just got a load of hot points running through, because it's not transferring the heat as well as it could because of the contact. So you could really get some serious valve, you know, temperature in the surface. I mean, you could also say if it's losing 40% of its heat via surface area, you have certainly increased that. But we know that's not the truth. So yeah, I mean, just that's what I always think when I see lapping in valves or grinding in valves. And like I say, I'm sorry, 400 grit. I mean, you can see whatever lapping paste this has had on it. And let's see if I can see. I mean, you're telling me you can't see that? So yes, it marks up the seat, but it also leaves, I mean, something I can physically feel that. And if I can feel that, that's got to be some serious roughness. I feel it with my nail. So yeah, I mean, that is my thought. That makes more sense to me, to have a perfectly smooth surface. And then, like I say, if you do lap it, it's crazy. Like, you'll see, like, this top machine surface up here where there's no lap, you can still see striations in there, but that might be their tooling. But that bottom one's really quite nice. And that is so smooth. You can the difference is astronomical. But then, so when you lap, it honestly, you can see, I mean, you think that there's no chatter or anything in this perfect one. I mean, I can actually see a little bit, but it is astronomical how the lapping compound of 1200 shows up the striations, like and they're always downwards, so they're obviously it's chatter, so it's rotational, so they're facing this way. But yeah, really shows up quite well. I will get round to doing that part. But yeah, so that's that cylinder head. That's basically where we're at with that one. I've got another cylinder head to measure, because I'm going to make this video about just measuring cylinder heads. So I've got interestingly a used 4-piston cylinder head, which I'm sure everyone's going to be like, oh great, amazing. But yeah, so I've got a 4-piston cylinder head. I had not even looked at it yet. And then we're going to rip the valves out. And it's a full complete 4-piston, so it's their valves, their seats, their guides, their everything. So we might be able to look into their seat angles, how many they're running, if they're running a radius on the exhaust. I mean, maybe they're running a radius on the inlet, I doubt it, but you know. And then potentially what their angles are that they're running on that particular head. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's a good few years old now. But I know he's already said that it was suffering from detonation on one of the cylinders. Someone gave him some fuel that was a bit dog shit, and therefore, yeah, it's been suffering. But we'll strip it, and we'll try and take some measurements from it and see where we go.